You have never truly understood endurance until you stand at the edge of unrelenting trial, where every breath, every heartbeat, becomes a negotiation with life itself. Musashi's world was carved from ceaseless conflict, a realm where survival demanded not courage alone, but a total surrender of comfort and expectation. Modern life, with its soft cushions, its constant hum of distraction, lulls men into a fragile illusion. You walk streets that never demand your total presence. Your every decision softened by safety nets you cannot see, yet your body remembers nothing of true hardship. In Musashi's time, the wind cut deeper, the nights stretched colder, and danger was a constant companion, not a story read in books. Pain was not a visitor, but a resident, inhabiting his bones, shaping his mind, carving a spirit that could endure beyond what any ordinary man could bear. The weight of endless duels, of hunger gnawing at the edge of consciousness, of isolation that could crush the untested soul, this was his reality. You, sitting safely within screens and heated rooms, cannot imagine the magnitude of it. Yet the subtle horror lingers. Most men today could not withstand even a fraction of what Musashi endured. His body, honed by relentless motion, his mind, sharpened by constant vigilance, his spirit, forged by confrontation with death at every turn, these were the tools of survival in a world that offers no second chances. Endurance is measured not by mere survival, but by transformation under pressure, by the capacity to emerge from fire unbroken, unyielding, yet fundamentally altered. When you feel the first sting of discomfort, remember this: Musashi lived where discomfort was the law, and only through complete immersion in its weight could a man become formidable, unshakable, alive in ways the comfortable cannot perceive. Modern life teaches men to avoid friction, to seek approval, to depend upon systems as fragile as glass. You have been conditioned to believe that comfort is strength, that validation is armor, and that fleeting applause can replace substance. Musashi was tested every dawn and dusk without pause or pity. His every step observed only by the unyielding standards of survival itself. Failure was immediate, brutal, and often final. There were no do-overs, no audience to soothe your trembling hands. The world demanded that he carry his own weight, and it would not pause for hesitation. In such an environment, weakness is revealed instantly, and most would crumble before the first blow lands. You may glance around at men today, distracted and insulated, their minds dulled by safety and ease, their bodies untested, their resolve untested. Here lies the quiet shame. Your endurance is shallow, and your fortitude remains a rumor whispered in idle dreams. True strength, the kind Musashi wielded, is forged where survival is non-negotiable, where discomfort is the companion of every breath, where solitude and confrontation with death carve clarity and courage into every sinew. You cannot pretend to walk in such shoes without paying the price, without surrendering to the crucible. The rare man, hardened in ways the modern world cannot conceive, steps forward and does not falter because he has been refined by the fires of uncompromising trial. You glimpse the shadow of that reality and understand that most men are only passengers in their own lives, never tested, never tempered, never whole. The cold is not metaphor. Hunger is not a story. Musashi felt the bite of each as constant companions on paths without respite. Modern men hide from discomfort, shielding themselves behind cushions of distraction and convenience. You may think pain is an interruption, a visitor that comes and goes, but in the crucible of his life, it was the law. Every strike, every misstep, Every night spent shivering alone taught lessons no comfort could provide. The relentless weight of unyielding challenge sharpened perception, hardened resolve, and demanded transformation of body and mind alike. There is a subtle terror in realizing that your environment does not negotiate with weakness. In Musashi's world, pain cannot be avoided. It becomes your tutor, your mirror, your unflinching guide. To endure is to acknowledge that suffering is a crucible, not a curse, and that every moment of struggle carves clarity into the soul. Modern avoidance conceals weakness. Endurance reveals essence. You, accustomed to fleeting discomforts that retreat with a click, cannot yet comprehend the magnitude of life shaped by endless trial. Yet, to understand is to glimpse the truth. Most men will never encounter the refining edge of life as he did, and thus most men will never know the depth of their own capacity. Pain is not merely to be survived. It is to be inhabited, and only there does transformation begin. In the quiet awareness of suffering, a man discovers himself fragile, flawed, yet capable of becoming something indestructible, alone. Musashi walked paths that tested body, mind, and spirit without concession. Modern men fear solitude, equating it with weakness, with incompleteness, with loss. But in the furnace of isolation, the warrior discovers the depth of his own authority. Without the noise of approval, without the padding of companions, every flaw is exposed, every hesitation magnified, every thought laid bare. Pain becomes tangible, fear becomes a teacher, and clarity arises not from comfort but from confrontation. You, enveloped in constant company and distraction, cannot imagine the precision and focus that solitude enforces. It is both punishment and power, a space where only the unflinching can thrive. Musashi learned to walk alone because only then could he hear the subtle truths whispered by life and danger alike. Loneliness is not emptiness. It is the crucible in which the mind learns to stand unshakably. The body learns to endure, and the spirit learns to command. Transformation occurs not when isolation is endured reluctantly, but when it is embraced as the battlefield upon which real mastery is forged. In that quiet expanse, fear loses its dominion, and strength emerges with clarity, sharp and unassailable. You glimpse it and realize that the rarest power comes not from swords or allies, but from the man who walks alone and remains whole. Discipline is a weapon forged in the shadows, sharpened by repetition, tempered in discomfort, and unseen by all but the self. Musashi devoted each day to this unseen practice, without applause, without validation, without pause. Modern men perform for attention, seeking reward or recognition, mistaking spectacle for strength. True endurance is quieter, unyielding, relentless. Each repetition, each measured breath under strain, each moment spent beyond ease, carved a man capable of enduring what most could not imagine. Pain and hardship were not obstacles but allies, shaping endurance, resilience, and perception. The invisible work, the unseen discipline, the quiet insistence on mastery, this was Musashi's weapon. And here lies the secret. Those who flee, those who avoid, those who seek comfort will never know supremacy. For it is reserved for the man who walks willingly into the unrelenting trial, unbroken and undistracted. Strength is not granted, it is earned in silence. Each day without applause is a day the warrior's edge becomes keener, his resolve firmer, his presence heavier. You, watching, may feel a pang of inadequacy, a stirring that whispers of the work you have yet to undertake. That stirring is the first echo of true power. A life disciplined beyond comfort, disciplined beyond distraction, disciplined beyond the fragile illusions of the world. The fiercest battles are never fought in the field. Musashi's greatest duels were against hesitation, doubt, and the insidious whispers of his own mind. Modern men rarely confront such enemies, for distraction offers solace, and comfort conceals weakness. You may wonder why fear returns despite preparation, why indecision shadows your steps. The battlefield is internal, the opponent invisible, relentless, cunning. Musashi faced it daily, each choice a test, each moment a measurement of authority over self. Pain, failure, isolation, these refined perceptions, strengthened nerve, and demanded absolute mastery of thought and action. Survival in the world is meaningless if mastery over the self is absent. Endurance, composure, courage, all are forged where the mind resists, where temptation to flee is strongest. Here lies the emotional jolt. No external victory precedes internal command. The man who cannot endure himself cannot endure the world, for the shadows within are sharper than any blade. You stand now at the threshold of understanding. The faint tremor in your consciousness, a reminder that your greatest adversary has always been within. Musashi conquered it, and there lies the unspoken measure of his immortality. Strength is silent. Presence is quiet. Musashi's power was not the clash of steel, but the weight of a man who had endured endlessly. Resistance amplifies suffering, yet he accepted the unyielding tide of challenge, neutralizing fear through clarity and calm. Modern men rarely taste such equilibrium, their lives orchestrated by distraction and immediate reward. You may notice in yourself a twitch of impatience, a craving for comfort, a longing for distraction. That is the void where calm forged by true trial might dwell, if you dare endure it. Musashi's composure emanated from years of relentless confrontation. Each trial layering subtle authority, each hardship building a presence that demanded recognition without a word. True power is measured not by spectacle, but by the unshakable stillness that emerges from survived adversity. You observe and understand. Composure is not born from convenience. It is carved by fire, solitude, pain, and conscious endurance. The man who can move through the world unshaken has walked where others would crumble, and in that quiet mastery, he becomes more formidable than any visible weapon. Look around. The world today offers comfort, distraction, and fleeting illusions of challenge. Few could survive constant hunger, perpetual threat, isolation, and the psychological toll Musashi endured, let alone emerge transformed. Survival without transformation is empty. Musashi endured both, body, mind, and spirit tested relentlessly. Strength, clarity, and alignment were not gifts, they were carved in the unyielding crucible of his life. Fear, pain, and solitude became his guides, not his enemies, and he moved through them with unshakable presence. The sobering realization, the lives most men lead, are whispers compared to the roar. He walked within, mastery of self, endurance of the unwearable. Quiet power, these are reserved for the rarest of men, those who choose to face the abyss without flinching. You feel it now, the echo of a life far beyond ordinary comprehension. And you understand, few could walk it, fewer still could transform. Yet in understanding there is awakening. The unspoken challenge remains. Will you measure yourself against nothing? or against the heights of what a man like Musashi endured? The silence answers, only those willing to endure alone, fully, consciously, will ever touch it.